Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Katie for those of you who don't know, and welcome back if you are coming back. This video is going to be a story time kind of a video. I'm just going to be telling you guys about my experience with being diagnosed with ulcerative colitis because it was a fun one. I am just recently diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I was diagnosed on the 4th of July this year after our hospital visit, and it was the scariest thing that I probably have ever done in my life. Disclaimer, it's gross. This story is gross. Ulcerative colitis is a gross disease. If you don't like talking about your bowel movements, your stomach, anything like that, or you do get kind of squeamish, I would not recommend watching the video. Just because it's a disease and it affects your bowel. And my symptoms started probably in the very beginning of this year. And I started noticing I was getting a little bit more constipated, and it was a little bit harder to go to the bathroom, and it was just not usual. So I went back to the doctor 2 weeks later, and this is probably in February at this point, and I told him, you know, I still have my cough, I still don't feel good, I'm still very lethargic, and he was like, oh, you know, you probably just have another virus and it's not going away. And so I told him also about the stomach issues. I was like, you know, I'm really constipated all the time, I can't go to the bathroom, my stomach's been hurting, it feels very uncomfortable, I don't really know what's going on or what's happening. And he was like, okay, well, here. He gave me some medication for it. I can't remember what he gave me, but gave me some medication for the constipation, and he was like, oh, this should help. He was like, okay, take this for 2 weeks and see what happens. 2 weeks later, nothing happened. I was still sick, and the bloating got worse. The bathroom issues just started stacking up. My stomach started hurting more. I just wanted my doctor to help, and he wasn't. So I went back 2 weeks later, and I told him that, you know, there's blood in my stool now. That you go to the bathroom and you see red, and it's not supposed to be red. I told him that it's really hard for me to go to the bathroom. I'm very bloated. Everything I eat, it just going right through me. There's a lot of blood, there's mucus, there's like this white stuff in there, and I was getting so defeated because I had no clue what was going on with my body. And he was like, you know, here, let's just try another medication and we'll see what happens. This should help. So I took that medication and nothing happened. So it's the beginning of April at this point, and I've had 4 months of trying to figure out what is going on with my stomach. It's gotten to the point where I am no longer having solid stool. It was now very liquidy and very runny and very bloody and very mucousy, and it was freaking me out. So all of this kept going on through April and May, where I'd go to the doctor, tell him what's wrong, he would just give me some medication and send me on my way. The medication wouldn't do anything for me. I did this for 3 months straight. I went to the doctors every week because nothing was working. In June, I started noticing that, like, I just couldn't do anything. I was so tired all the time. I was so irritable. I couldn't even make it through a meal without having to go to the bathroom. I couldn't really make it through the day without having, like, to feel like I'm gonna throw up. And the pain in my stomach just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And it started kind of freaking me out because this pain, I've never felt it before. It's not going away, and it's radiating through my whole stomach. I can tell you exactly where it was, and I can tell you exactly where I feel like my colon is, because I feel like it just the whole thing just was hurting, and it felt like there's just like this massive cramp, and it feels like someone's squeezing it. It got to the point where I wasn't even making it through dinner without having to go to the bathroom. Like, I would sit down, take a few bites of my food, book it to the bathroom, be in the bathroom for 5 minutes, and cry because it hurt so bad. Then come back to the dinner table, eat again, and just do that over and over and over and over and over again. And then, so I went back to my doctor and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It is physically making me sick. I'm losing weight. I don't feel good. I'm not accepting anything that I'm eating, and I don't know what's going on. And my family has a history of stomach issues. Can I just go see a GI doctor? This medication isn't working. Everything that we're doing isn't working. Can I just go see a GI doctor? So I got him to get me a referral to go see a GI doctor, and it took about a week and a half to get that referral. And in that week and a half, everything changed. I went from being kind of okay to like being sick to my body started shutting down. I was throwing up. I couldn't make it to the bathroom. I couldn't, bleeding all the time, and like I wasn't hungry. I wasn't drinking water. I didn't want to do anything. I just laid in bed. That's all that I could do. My body hurt. And so my stomach hurt, and just, it felt like I wasn't me. So I got a GI doctor appointment, and I told the GI doctor everything that was going on, and he said, it sounds like you have ulcerative colitis. I want to get you a colonoscopy and and an endoscopy, or the cystoscopy, whatever, the one that like goes down your this way and that way, it goes both ways. But we have to wait to get it approved. And this is in June, the very end of June. And I'm like, God, like I have to wait longer to get this colonoscopy just to get like told that I'm pretty sure I have what I already think I have, and like I can't even go to work, like I can't eat, I can't drink, I can't do anything. I feel like my stomach hurts, I'm in pain all the time, I can't sleep because I'm in pain. I wasn't sleeping at all because I would lay down, and if I was laying on my back I was fine. But the second I moved, I'd have to go to the bathroom. So I was up every 20-30 minutes going to the bathroom. So I wasn't sleeping at all. And I'm telling the doctor this, and I think he's like understanding it, and I kind of don't think he's understanding it at the same, like the severity that it is at the same time. And I told him about the pain. I was like, I can barely walk from this office to the car without feeling like I'm gonna throw up because it hurts so bad, or feeling like I'm gonna pass out because it hurts so bad. So he gave me tramadol, and that was a lifesaver. That honestly was a lifesaver. So I started taking that. We had a party at my house, and my aunt and uncle had friends over, and you could just tell that there was something wrong with me. I was gray. I lost pretty much all the color in my body. I had nothing to me. I lost at this point probably about 10 pounds, and I was really skinny. I wasn't eating. I kind of just sat there, and I fell asleep. And I remember waking up, having to go to the bathroom, sitting on the toilet, crying because I'm hurting. I don't know what's going on, and like I'm bleeding, and then all of a sudden I just start throwing up. So it's coming out of both ends at this point, and I'm freaking out because I have no clue what's going on. Why is this happening? No one's giving me any answers, and I started also throwing up blood. So I laid back down. I told my aunt, next morning I was taken to the emergency room. So it was probably around 11 o'clock when we went to the emergency room, and everyone just kind of thought I was just really dehydrated, and because I wasn't really eating at the time, I wasn't really drinking, and so I remember just going in there and telling them all my symptoms, telling them, you know, like and usually when you go to, like, my experiences with emergency rooms, like, you sit there and you wait. Like, you wait. Well, I was in a bed within 5 minutes of getting into the emergency room with an IV already hooked up to me. And so they gave me IV fluids. I remember the doctor coming in and I was telling him my symptoms. He goes, yeah, there's not a lot we can do for you. You should really be talking to a GI doctor, because it sounds like you do have ulcerative colitis, and it sounds like you are in a flare, and there's not a lot, unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do while you're in a flare. And I just remember bawling, just crying, because he was the third person in my mind who couldn't do anything. Like, my primary care doctor wasn't doing anything. My GI doctor tried to do something, but I wasn't getting approved. Like, I just had to wait for an approval, and then I had to wait for a colonoscopy, so that was going to be more months. And then my emergency room doctor couldn't even help me. And, like, my family was there, so of course they're, like, trying to comfort me and make me feel better. And you can't really make someone feel better when they know something's wrong, but no one's helping them. And I think at that point the doctor kind of realized how bad it was. So he's like, you know, here, we'll run a few tests, we'll get a CT scan, we'll see what's going on. So they came in, they took a few blood tests, and they took an x-ray, and then I went down to a CT scan. And when I came back from my CT scan, it's kind of when everything kind of changed. The doctor comes back in, and, you know, it's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock by now. And he starts asking me more questions. And, you know, he's like, do you have an infection? You know, like the usual, like, oh, could it be like a UTI? And like all those kind of questions. He said, okay, we're going to keep you for more tests. And then all of a sudden a lady with a backpack walks in. I'm like, hi, lady. I was getting treated for sepsis. So in the CT scan, they saw that my colon was in fact inflamed, and so there's either an infection, or I had ulcerative colitis, or I even had both. So they started treating me for sepsis, which luckily test came back, I didn't have it, but I still got treated for it. And then later on in the day, we called their on-call GI doctor, and then they called my GI doctor, and both those doctors said admitter. So I did get admitted, and so I get a room at the hospital with the emergency room I was at. Unfortunately, my insurance didn't cover it, so I was going to have to get moved. But the other hospital that I was getting moved to didn't have a room ready for me, so I just stayed at the hospital with the emergency room that I went to first. So I go up, like, I get my own room. I just remember waking up the next morning and my aunt coming to the hospital, and we get told that I'm going to get a colonoscopy that day at 5 o'clock if I don't get moved to the new hospital that I was supposed to go to. And so I couldn't have any water, couldn't have any food, couldn't have anything. So I was told not to drink anything, not to eat anything, or anything. So I was pretty much just like starving that whole day, and all I wanted was water, because your mouth just gets like really dry, and we're just like laying in bed, just falling asleep and waking up and like falling asleep again. And then the lady comes in at 3 o'clock saying, there is a bed ready for you at the other hospital, you're getting moved. I started crying. I was so close to getting this colonoscopy, so close to getting some sort of answers, and then of course I get moved and nothing's gonna happen. I got moved to the new hospital, was told I was gonna see a GI doctor that day, and never saw the GI doctor that day. So this is day 2 in the hospital, have yet to see a GI doctor, have yet to get a colonoscopy, have yet to get any answer. The second day I would probably say was the worst. Just because I remember feeling so down and getting so sad and depressed that I wasn't feeling good enough. That, and even going to the bathroom, I would go to the bathroom, be hooked, grab my little wheel thing with my IV on it, take it to the bathroom and sit on the toilet for 10 minutes and just go to, well, of course I'd go to the bathroom, but like just be crying, and I'd just be sitting there thinking, I can't do this, just because it hurt and I felt so bad. And I just remember like my family coming in to visit me, and like luckily I'm very blessed with my family and they're very supportive. But it's hard to explain to someone how you feel when you feel like that. It's very lonely. You can be surrounded by people, but you still feel very lonely. And so it's the third morning, and I finally see my GI doctor. He comes in, he tells me you have the first colonoscopy tomorrow morning. I looked at your CT scans, I've looked at all your blood tests and everything. You do not have an infection. So I was getting treated for sepsis day 1, day 2, and most of day 3. And when the GI doctor came in, he told me that I did not have sepsis. Thank God. And it's, he's like, it looks mostly like you do have ulcerative colitis. If it is ulcerative colitis, I know exactly what we're doing, and like we'll figure out a treatment plan. And he asked me all about my family history, and I told him all about that. So I started colonoscopy prep, and I think I made it 40% of the way done. I don't even think I made it halfway. But luckily for me, I was pretty cleared out, because I was going to the bathroom, every 15 minutes and, wasn't really eating anything. And luckily I was already pretty cleared out, so I didn't really have to finish the whole thing. So I did about 40% of it, and it was the hardest thing of my life. The lady came in at 6:30, wheeled me into the colonoscopy room, and then had my colonoscopy at around 7:30. They wheeled me out. I was out for it. I couldn't tell you anything that really happened then. I do remember waking up saying I want tacos though, so tacos are life. And then I remember the GI, I remember seeing my family come in, and then I remember seeing the doctor come in, and he was like, you have ulcerative colitis. You have severe ulcerative colitis. And there are different versions of ulcerative colitis, and there are different versions of colitis in general. But luckily for me, I have severe pancolitis. So what that is I have it through my whole entire colon. So, but he did say, I asked him, I was like, can I just go home? Like, I don't really want to keep staying in the hospital if this is all I'm going to be doing is just sitting in bed. Like, I can sit in bed at home. So he said that if I can take my meds, I could go home. So they wheeled me back up to my room. They gave me my medicine. They waited to see if it gave me a reaction, and I went home that day. And he put me on prednisone and Lialda. And there was one more, I can't remember the first one. And he was like, this should work. I took it for the first few days, and I started feeling great. Started feeling so much better, and I was like, this is gonna be good. It can be treated with medication. And I spoke too soon. Probably about 2 weeks later, and I started getting sick again. I started noticing like the blood wasn't going away. The blood was still there, the pain was still there, the mucus was still there, and I just didn't know what was going on. So I was seeing my GI doctor again, and I started telling him, it's like, you know, like this isn't going away, and I was still losing weight. So I started about 130 this whole journey, and at this point I was probably about 115. And it got to the point again where I was sitting on the toilet and then I was starting to throw up because the pain was so bad. I was like, oh crap, this isn't good. So I didn't know what to do. So I went back to my GI doctor. He gave me some Zofran, I think that's what it's called, medication for nausea and like acid in your stomach. So he's like, here, take this. So I took it the next morning and I felt good, felt fine. I was like, oh, okay, maybe there's just like too much acid in my stomach right now and like everything's kind of freaking out. And then the day after that was hell. I remember waking up every 20 minutes to go to the bathroom and laying down and throwing up. I couldn't even drink water. Like the second I would drink water, probably like 5 minutes later I would be in the bathroom throwing up. At this point I'm like freaking out and I'm crying because I don't know what's going on with my body. There's something wrong and nothing's working and the medicine isn't working, and you just feel so defeated. And so I called my GI doctor and I was like, this is what's going on, what should I do? He told me to go to the emergency room again. So I went back to the emergency room, and the lady comes in and she's like, yep, we're admitting you, you're gonna be here for a few more days and don't really know what's going on. We're gonna call your GI doctor and see. We're gonna get you a CT scan and see what's actually really going on. And the CT scan, and it shows more thickening and more inflammation in my colon. So I unfortunately was getting worse, not better. So my GI doctor decided to admit me into the hospital. So I was admitted for a few days. I was on the IV steroids, I was on IV pain meds, and I was also getting treated for C. diff because they thought, oh, well, maybe she has another infection, or maybe there is an infection there that never really went away. And so I started getting treated for C. diff as well. So I'm just like sitting in the hospital like, what is going on? I feel so defeated because I'm so sick and like I don't feel good. My blood pressure is really low, and I naturally have a low blood pressure. Like my blood pressure runs low, but this was different. This was not normal. This is something that should not have been happening. And so my GI doctor comes back in the next day and he tells me that I'm going to start a biological medicine called Humira to suppress my immune system. So I started, it's like, you know, we're going to start you on Humira. Humira should help and all of this jazz. And then he also wanted me to get a blood infusion. So I needed to get more blood because I became anemic at this point because I was losing so much. And so he told me I didn't have C. diff. Luckily I did not have C. diff. And so there's another infection passed. And then the next day I was able to go home. So the next day I went home, and I've been home ever since. But yeah, in general I spent a week in the hospital and less than a month for ulcerative colitis, and that's how I was diagnosed and that's how they found out. And yeah, now I'm on Humira and I'm on my second dosage. I feel a lot better. I am still on prednisone. I'm still on the 40 grams of prednisone. I'm not sure when we're going to start tapering down off of that. But yeah, there is hope. And if you see blood in your stool or you see blood in the toilet and you know that there shouldn't be, go get it checked out. Do not wait like I did. Do not let your primary care doctor walk all over you like I did. If you feel like there's something wrong, go get it checked. Unfortunately, this disease is not fun, and it's hard, but you're not alone. Just remember that. But there is hope, and you will feel better. You will start sleeping more. I'm still working on that part, but it'll happen for you. But that's my story, and that's how I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. And we're gonna win the battle. Have a good day.